So it's Halloween, but I just recently watched Blue Lock, and that reminds me, Haikyuu's the best anime that people don't give a chance to watch, including myself. And I'm gonna spend the entire rest of this month, I guess, talking about it. And I want to talk about the 5 best players in Haikyuu, in my opinion. I'm gonna be excluding people that are, of course, really good, but we see them do maybe one thing in the show, so don't have a lot to go off of there. Let's start off with the best defender in probably the entire show.
It's Date Tech. Where are his eyebrows?
Ooh, saying the names is gonna be the tough part of this, but starting off at number 5 is the best defender probably from Haikyuu, period. Aoin? Is that how you say his name? I'm not gonna get it right. Anyway, this man is the only player from the show that gave somebody else a midlife crisis. You know how good at defense you have to be? I used to play basketball. When you can make somebody depressed to where they just hate themselves, that's the best feeling in the world. When the other person just isn't having fun. That's exactly what he did. The Iron Wall, basically, you know, there was other players involved, of course, but let's be honest, he was the backbone of it, an absolute monster on the court. Man's took defense wins championships to heart. Now, did it really win championships for them? No, their offense was not elite in any sense, because their defense basically was their offense, and I think that was kind of backfired on them, but at the same time, they still were a very tough out, elite team, and they can make anybody sweat having to go against them.
From this day on, you shall be known as the new king of the cards!
I'm gonna be honest, I didn't really know who to put at number 4. Then I sat down and thought about it, and Kageyama really deserves the nod here. I wasn't a huge fan of the whole Kageyama is a genius thing. I honestly, when I first watched the show, thought he was a little overrated. But after watching some of the matches, he does kind of take them to an entirely new tier. For one, he's able to pull off that super fast quick with Hinata, the most unstoppable thing in the show, probably so far. And then 2, he's all around just a better player at most positions than most. You saw when Suga was in the game, when he replaced him, he was a good leader, but he just wasn't as talented. The offense and defense nosedived kind of when he came into the game. Kageyama is also a decent defender, and I think another big part of him is that he pushes the team to even greater heights. He doesn't just let them be lazy and just say, oh, I want to do this. He challenges them to be better. So for that, I think he deserves number 4. Excellent setter, and he's also a really good defender, and he can also be a decent striker when needed. Gonna be real, the top 3 all really are kind of 1A, 1B, and 1C. But let's start off with number 3. I picked Miya Atsumu for number 3. Extremely talented, overall just a legendary setter. The man has perfect sync with his brother, then he's able to fake out opponents exceptionally well, just keep them guessing. Also, another part that makes him really dominant is those serves. He has 2 serves that one can confuse the opponent, other is just powerful and quick. Just an overall nightmare. And then he can switch with his brother at a moment's notice to become the one finishing the play. That's just scary, man. The man was utterly dominant when they played Karasuno. You saw really enough based off of that one match that he deserves a spot as a top 5 player in the show by far. Excellent. The other 2 are just, in my opinion, we've seen more and they're just at a little bit of a higher level.
Even though he was breaking his form, he was still able to nail a cross-court shot.
Number number 2 is, we're gonna go with the Eagle. I don't know how to say his name, man. I know his name, but it's just too hard for me to say. But we're going with the Eagle, the big man himself, the ace of the show. And let's be honest, by far probably the biggest final boss battle vibes in the whole show, even comparatively to our number 1 spot later. But man, just was an absolute monster. Literally, I think he scored over half his team's points alone when they played Karasuno, and he had just a cannon on him, and he wasn't even really losing power, and man was just kept blasting through. He blasted through the iron wall, which, you know, amazing. They literally make other people want to do suicide, and just really honestly almost was the number 1. But I think overall he was decent at defense, you know, but the number 1 spot just all around is just the best player I think in Haikyuu, just by a smidge point, even though the Eagle would always beat him out whenever they played. Number 1 is the Great King. Oikawa is the best player in Haikyuu. I don't want to hear any objections to it, because man's all around did everything in an elite level. And I think maybe most importantly, and also kind of to his downfall, was he stressed team above the other players in the list. I think most importantly, the other players weren't selfish, but they were kind of like the individual stars. When Oikawa himself rised a team up that, I'm gonna say this again, that team kind of sucked, if I'm gonna be honest with you. You know, they were okay, but other than his ace, I mean, they're not that great. Mad Dog came along for the last match with Karasuno, but he was still learning and evolving. I think if he had more time with Oikawa, that could have been a championship team. And just imagine if he had played on a stacked team. Easily would have been in Nationals, easily. But he wanted to kind of do it himself and prove that he could defeat the other talented players. He had a genius in front of him and a genius behind him, and it just kind of sucked overall, because really he should have been in Nationals just as the best player from the show overall. It really was like their first big test that they had to go against. His serves, they're still the best serves in all of Haikyuu, just phenomenal, and he made everybody in that court better. Everybody. Because I'm saying it again, they were trash. Maybe not trash, but they were kind of mediocre comparatively to some of those stacked teams in the show. But the best player is the Great King. If anybody has gotten to this point in the video, shout out to you. I won't sleep with your mom later.